Welcome to my web series. I'm Daskys, and this is where I jump between old and new games to answer the burning question, is it worth it? Today on the cutting block, Marvel Midnight Suns. This game is developed by Firaxis, a company who is no slouch when it comes to turn-based RPG games. Best known for games like Civilization or XCOM, they are kind of the kings of this genre. So when I heard they were going to make a game for Marvel, and it was also going to have the turn-based style that XCOM has, it had me really excited. In this game, you play as Hunter, a character made specifically for this game to fight the demon queen Lilith, your mother. Trained from young, Hunter was made to be the only thing to stand up against her. In this campaign, you team up with two different teams, the Avengers and the Midnight Suns, and pretty much everything in between. This includes Marvel heavy hitters like Blade, Spider-Man, Iron Man, and countless others. Now, I want to talk about the story for a minute. The story is awesome. You get to bring different characters like Blade and Wolverine into different scenarios where they're kind of working together, but the problem being with that is that they're constantly ignoring each other. It's almost like as if they don't really have much planned for what characters are brought with you, but they sure as hell have it planned for the Abbey. When you get back to that hub, that little home that you have, you're constantly getting bombarded by different characters, different little missions, little things to do inside the Abbey that will either level you up or your team. More often than not, what I would do inside the Abbey is I would hyper-focus certain characters to make them as high a level as possible. Reason being is that they get bonuses inside of fights. For example, a character like Spider-Man, who uses the environment to do damage, will do way more damage if you're closer friends with him than if you would have just left him alone. So that makes him more viable, dependent on what kind of cards you build and what kind of deck you build, to play around that special ability that you get by being closer friends with him. And thus, that is the actual cycle of the game. Become friends, get closer, build a deck that actually works in the actual fighting, and then from there, rinse, repeat, because then you have to do it with all the rest of the characters. The only thing I don't like about this whole system and how becoming friends and doing all that levels you up and whatnot, I think that's great. The problem being is that you have to manage this light-dark system that they've also implemented, where you're constantly going to be choosing between light and dark answers for all of your characters that you're talking to. This becomes an annoyance because you just need to figure out the pattern, and once you figure it out, you play around it. So let's say if you're choosing Paragon, like the light side or whatnot, you're going to be careful not to say certain things around magic. And thus, if you're also choosing the dark side, you're going to be careful about what you say to Spider-Man, because Spider-Man is a good guy. He's just a baby boy we love, because he's a good dude. I kind of wish they added some sort of system for romance, or to be able to hook up with some of the Avengers or Marvel characters, because I feel like it would be funny just to have Hulk smash, just to have him smashing. He has two meanings to it. Anyways, moving on. The campaign in this game is not this insanely hard campaign. It's actually quite easy. More often than not, if you can't beat something, you could just go grind it out in a corner and come back and absolutely demolish it. But it feels like it kind of scales around your level. Being somebody who loves to over-level and just plow through the campaign, I wasn't able to do so, because it just stayed at my range. Now, while the game is not hard, it will always keep you in a certain range just to make sure you don't over-level past a point and just plow through the whole campaign in one shot. The grind itself just gives you different abilities where you could beat the level quicker and easier, because now you unlock the high level legendary cards and whatnot to be able to kill everything in one fell swoop. So my gameplay style was kind of stopped in this because they always made it scale to me. Now, after watching everybody else's reviews and being very tentative and waiting and watching, I've realized that everybody has roughly the same opinion about the chores. And I call them chores because every strategy game has them. You're gonna end up doing a bunch of research, you're gonna have to talk to certain people, you're gonna upgrade your ship, your cabin, your whatever that you have your people out of. You're gonna upgrade your team size. The only difference that this game has is that they went about the process of adding a dimension of being friends. So now you have to manage that friendship versus that light and dark, and people are complaining about it. People are like, what is this? I don't want to do this. I don't want to have conversations with the other characters and whatnot. This is a waste of my time. I understand where you're coming from, saying that it's a little campy at times and it feels forced, as if you're the coolest kid on the block and everybody wants to be your friend, everybody likes you. I will admit this is a little bit immersion breaking at times, but what can you do, right? This is how they made the game. A missed opportunity is on the dislike. If they were able to make characters not like you and then level up in dislike, it would have been really cool to see them do more damage or to have a different dimension to work through instead of always constantly trying to be friends and kissing ass with everybody inside the Abbey. personally, I think that there are certain characters like Magic, which I just did not care to actually manage, and I ended up like sucking it up and just giving them the answers they wanted just so I could level them. In Midnight Suns, they have this system where you are able to get your character to level 5, and after level 5, you get a special skin just for the character. That skin is unlocked through a trial, almost like a rite of passage. If you end up beating the rite of passage, you end up getting that extra move that comes with it, as well as the skin. I think it's awesome, that system, because it makes it so that there's a payout to the actual leveling other than just getting some sort of bonus or whatnot. Now, I want to talk about the whole little Abbey story mode and what they set up and everything. I just want to say that that little storyline that they had where you're fighting the different gods or whatnot to get different powers to move around the map or to unlock different skins was kind of mid. Like, if I didn't have this little tiny bug in my head telling me I have to complete everything, I would have never done it. And to be honest with you, I kind of wish I never did it because it didn't really do much for me. To be honest, it feels like they were padding time. The only problem with this whole padding time in this situation is none of the stuff you're doing is making your team stronger, and it is quite literally all for aesthetics. So, do with that what you will. It's up to you. If you want to have skins and all that stuff, you're going to have to go roaming around in the Abbey, doing all the side missions, unlocking different areas, and opening up all the little chests in the map. Now, this is the portion where I talk about the technical bugs and whatnot that I encountered during my playthrough. In this game, I've only really encountered one where I had a visual bug in the Abbey and all the torches ended up giving out the whole JPEG or picture that's behind it, and it just looked a little weird. Other than that, the gameplay is pretty awesome. It is not broken and it runs super well. I'm playing this game on PC, so this can differ between PlayStation and Xbox, but so far so good. The game is well polished and is complete on release. This game is chock full of content and it has so much to offer, but I just want to make it abundantly clear that this was written almost like a comic book. It's not written like the cinematic movies, and if you're expecting something like that or that universe, this is not it. This is a separate entity in its own different thing, and think of it like its own comic series. Now, that being said, let's talk about whether or not Midnight Suns is worth it. As of the creation of this video, the game is retailing for a price of $79.99. That is full price, and honestly, this price is not outside the realm of what I would recommend for somebody who is a strategy game lover. If you're somebody who loves these games, buying this game full price is not the worst thing ever. Especially considering how much content you get out of it, you're going to be playing this game for hours and hours. But if you're somebody who's new to this style of game, I recommend that you wait for some sort of special like it is right now. It is on special for $53.59, which is a 33% special. And that special itself actually makes it totally worth it. Like, if I picked this game up at that price, that is a fair price for me. So my recommendation is broken up into two different categories. If you're a strategy game lover and you want to play this game, buy it for full price. It is 100% worth it. If you're not a strategy game lover and you're new to this type of game, I recommend that you pick this game up for anything under $55, because at that price range, it is a complete steal and you are beating the system. This is yet another episode of Is It Worth It? My name is Daskys and I hope you enjoyed the video. If you want to be a part of the recording process or if you want to join the Discord, click the links below. All the best, never change, watch out for strangers and look both ways are crossing the street, and yeah, I love you, you beautiful bastards.